Hello everyone, welcome to another episode in the show. We're going to talk about how to go about scaling your meta ads. If you have any ads that are currently doing well, and if you want to squeeze more, revenue out of these ads by increasing the budget and ensuring that you're actually continuously seeing the same amount of ROAS, then this episode is for you. So get your pen and paper handy. And if you've enjoyed any of our previous content, I want to encourage you to like and subscribe. In studio, I have Gilbert Kumbukwe. How's it, my brother?
I am good. And yourself?
Lekker, man. Yeah. I'm so well. So let's talk about scaling Facebook ads. I think there's a lot of people out there who have winning campaigns, but they might be running at 50 Rand a day or 100 Rand a day, and they're going, if I can only increase my budget and see the same results, or at least a decent enough results to continue making profit, that'll be great. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes because they immediately just up the budget and hope for the best, and then they go, oh, Facebook's taking all my money and now it's giving me a lot less in return for it. The algorithm is against me, Facebook hates me, this is strategic. Now, that might be true to some extent, but my gut says, having worked on this platform for years now, probably a decade now, it's not necessarily always the case. There is logic behind why that's happening if you just had to drastically increase the budget, from messing up the algorithm to many other various factors that we can discuss today. So maybe we can talk about just why some of the mistakes that people make potentially when it comes to scaling their campaigns. Number one, that you've seen, the budget one being one of them, and then how you can actually go about scaling your campaigns to ensure that you don't jeopardize the algorithm and its success.
Yeah, thanks, man. So from looking at your ad accounts, a couple of problems that maybe we've seen on accounts, or just you running your ads in general, is one, scaling too quickly your budgets. So going from Monday you're spending 50 Rand a day to Wednesday you're spending 500 Rand a day. It throws off the algorithm. That's just the long and the short of it. And the algorithm then needs to go and relearn from a 50 Rand budget to now a 500 Rand budget. All right, so it starts to go back into a learning phase, and that basically just stifles your growth and the rate at which you can grow. The second common mistake that usually happens is having too many duplicated ads. So what tends to happen is some accounts will scale horizontally. So they're scaling vertically and they're scaling horizontally. Vertically is scaling up with your budget, vertical, for one specific ad set, but then there's horizontal scaling where some will take an ad set because it's winning, they duplicate it and duplicate it and duplicate it and duplicating it. The reason they're duplicating is because they're trying to reach more pockets of the larger audience size that they're currently advertising to. And so on the one end, what that can also create is overlapping audiences, and you start bidding against yourself, because now you just have multiple ad sets that are basically going after the same audience and showing the same ads, and you're just bidding against yourself at the end of the day. Also, when it comes to scaling, it becomes a lot more challenging because now your budgets are also very high, typically, that's what you see with scaling ad accounts, and you've got horizontal audiences set up, which quickly goes through that audience, the budgets go through that audience a lot quicker because of the fact that you're spending at high budgets because you're scaling, and that audience size is finite. So you end up having auction overlap and audience overlap and so forth, and that fatigues the growth at which your ad account or ads grow at. And then the other problem is not having enough budget, or not putting behind enough budget to actually meet the minimum requirements for Facebook to get better. And typically the minimum requirements are about 50 conversions on average every 7 days. So if it's not getting to that level, then you're going to struggle to scale. And some will run ads at 50 Rand a day for a whole week and only generate maybe 2 or 3 conversions, failing to scale and failing to get optimal results for that specific ad set because that specific ad set just doesn't have enough behind it to actually get your results.
So what do we do?
Right, so in scaling, there's 3 things that matter. It's the budget, it's going to be the product, and it's going to be the creative. all of those are going to scale. And I'm going to first start off with the budget. I mentioned that you can scale vertically and you can scale horizontally. When you're scaling vertically, in line with the algorithm, so that to not throw it off, if you want to do it successfully, you're going to have to do it every 3 to 4 days, from experience, anywhere between 20 to maybe 40% increase at a time. So every 3 to 4 days, increase your budget by 20 to 40%. All right. You don't want to scale you're going to struggle to scale a ad set that is set at a very low budget. So what I mean again is, if you're spending 50 Rand a day, but it's costing you 100 Rand to get a sale, you're likely not going to get sales for the next 2 days, or at least it's going to take 2 days for you to get sales, because 50 Rand to spend today, 50 Rand to spend tomorrow, $100. That's because that's how much you're actually paying to get the customer. So you're going to have to put a sufficient enough budget, and the sufficient enough budget is actually going to come from how much you're paying to get the customer. That is what helps you to better budget in order for you to be able to see results based off of the CPA that you're currently getting. Yes, there's ways to improve CPAs and so forth. However, if you want to scale successfully, you need to take your CPA and multiply it by 5. Multiply it by 50, divide that by 7. And then that will tell you roughly how much you need to be spending on a daily basis in order for you to get consistent purchases coming through.
Okay, so that makes sense. You take your current CPA, multiply it by 50, because you need 50 conversions in order for the algorithm to learn properly, and then you just divide that by 7 to figure out what your daily budget should be like.
Roughly, pretty much. Give or take, that's what you would have to be spending on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Once you've got that in place, those ads should perform well enough to get you the conversions that Facebook requires in order for that ad set to get out of the learning phase. And once it's out of the learning phase, you're now, I would say, in the green zone. And at that point, you can continue scaling, scaling incrementally, but the results are going to be a lot more stable.
Consistent.
Absolutely. More stable, more consistent. And that's how you've got to approach the vertical scaling. The horizontal scaling, as mentioned, it's literally just duplicating that winning ad set over to other ad sets. And typically what happens is, if I started, let's just say I did start at 150 Rand a day or 100 Rand a day, and I can see that this ad set has potential, but it's costing me $100 a day, I can duplicate it. I know it's my winning audience, so I can duplicate it, but then I'm going to now start at 100, 150 Rand a day with a duplicated ad set. So I'm already starting high. The problem is you can't start, you have to incrementally go up with the original one. You can't just go from 50 to 150. So how do you overcome that? You duplicate it and then you start high immediately at 150 in order to accommodate for more sales to come through. So that's horizontal. When it comes to the scaling of products, so here you're scaling based off of the ad set or the campaign, right? But if you want to scale profitably, you're going to want to scale a product, your profitable product. So brands, businesses have multiple products, right? But we also know that they're not all weighted equally when it comes to profit margins. So when it comes to having profitable ads, you ideally need to identify which of those products are your most profitable. And what you want to ensure is that when you are running campaigns, you're actually running these campaigns for your most profitable products. This is when you can start talking about, I'm scaling profitably, because it's very easy to run a campaign that has multiple products at the ad level, in a carousel even, and yes, you can see good results. Problem is, if they're not weighted equally, let's just say they're not all 40%, some of them are 10%, some of them are 5% profit margins, you're going to struggle to make that campaign and those ads profitable because of such small margins. And the other thing is, the other challenge that I've seen is, because you're adding a carousel of products in there, it's very difficult to know which of those products is actually the one generating the sales, because they've all been added into a carousel, or they've all been added into a catalog ad. And now, in order for you to scale, you don't know how to scale the product, because it's very difficult to tell which product it is. Remember, just because you're seeing that top selling product on your store and it's indicating to you that these are the top selling product, it doesn't mean that's the same top selling product that you're going to see on your ads. Your ads, you have to test to see which is going to be your top selling product. Once you've tested and you've identified that, you want to ensure that product there is the one with the most highest profit margins, because then if you can identify those two and you put your efforts behind that specific product, increasing the budgets accordingly, you can then say you can scale profitably, because you know that the product that's actually running is scalable, has good profit margins. And the beauty of having a particular product is that not only does it provide clarity anyways on where you can continue, where you should be spending your money and putting your money so that you can scale profitably, but also you can build funnels. You can build a funnel for that particular product and make it even more profitable, because when they land on that page,
there's a higher conversion rate.
Exactly, higher conversion rate. You can start upselling maybe other products with that high profit margin product. You can create bundles out of it. So it becomes, in the long term, a strategic approach to actually start looking at focusing on one singular product, because it will help you increase your conversion rates, and it can also help you increase your AOVs. Therefore, you're getting even more money from that particular advertising that you're doing.
Love it, man. Was there something else you wanted to add? It feels like I might have.
No, then the last thing was literally just about the creative. So when it comes to scaling, you're likely going to find yourself, usually your aim is to, quadruple, 6x the daily spend. So because you're going to be spending so much, one creative is not going to cut it. Two creatives might not even cut it. You're going to be looking at having multiple creatives, because of the fact that if you found a winning audience, and that audience, let's just say it was 1 million, but here you are, gone from spending 50 Rand a day to 3,000 Rand a day profitably, and there's just two creatives there, you're going through that audience a lot quicker than when you were at 50 Rand a day. So the chances of them starting to see that ad a lot more frequently, the time is becoming a lot shorter and shorter, where they start seeing that ad a lot more frequently, and then they stop responding the same way they used to. So you're going to have to start also scaling up your creative and what you're showing in front of the people, if you still want to see results that you were previously seeing from just maybe that one creative. So you're going to have to test out other winning variations, and that might look like testing out 8 different creatives in any given week. It just depends on how much budget you're spending and how quickly you're going through a specific audience. So higher budgets do require a lot more rigorous, aggressive testing at a creative side, even offers, to be honest, but you'll find yourself testing a lot more, because of the fact that it's going to go through a specific audience a lot quicker, and you need to keep on naturally resonating and get results, and so you're going to have to scale up your creative testing as well.
Dude, that was insane, man. Thank you so much for that. I feel that was a lot of value, and I believe in my heart and my soul, for everybody running Facebook ads who might have an online store. Even if you don't have an online store, there's still value to be taken away from this. So thank you so much for that. And I really enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it on the other side, I want to encourage you to give this a like and a subscribe for more content like this. And then I want to say, Gil, thanks for joining us in studio, and thanks for dropping those knowledge bombs and nuggets, man.
Thank you, and look forward to the next one, and I hope everybody got some value out of that one.
Cheers.
Cool, man. Cheers.